Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope that you are fine. As you know, we have already taken apple picking, and this will be the concluding lecture of the poem. I hope that you have made a good understanding. You have understood the things which I have discussed in the previous lecture very well. I have discussed certain things which were important regarding the poem and for your general understanding about the poem. Dear students, you should remember always that there are certain things from a poem, from a lesson, which are must to understand if we are to understand the lesson as a whole. So that's why, in previous lecture, I just threw light on some specificities which I thought were important to, discuss before we make possible to go through the lines of the poem to make a good understanding about the entire poem. One important thing which I already told you, that I said that this poem is very much philosophical in nature. Yes, indeed it is philosophical in nature. There are a lot of interpretations already of the poem available for us. Let's have some recapitulation what we have done in the earlier lecture. So dear students, I was talking about Robert Frost. I said that his poetry is dense as per as the symbolism in poetry is concerned. We have got some imagery from the poems of Robert Frost. The images are drawn from nature, whether it is the poem of Bridges, whether it is the poem of Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, whether there is Mending Wall, whether there is The Road Not Taken, and several other, which are very important as far as the theme and ideas of those poems are concerned. There are certain metaphors used in this poem. If we understand them, we can directly understand the poem in a best way. For example, let's go through the poem now, and all those things which I've discussed earlier in earlier lecture. I hope that they'll get clear when once we go through all these lines of the poem. So let's not consume too much time. This apple you should take as a human desire. Human desire. The students, this apple you should take as a human desire. At one particular point of time, Robert Frost says that I have had too much of apple picking. I myself desired. When a man is brought in this world, he desires too much. When his desire is fulfilled, he feels bored, he feels tired, he feels exhausted. Because at the end of the day, what happens to him is that he reaches to the death. That's clear to one of the important points when the writer says that I am feeling drowsiness. The sleep is going to overtake him. It is symbolically the death that the person reaches to death. One more interpretations I said about the poem is that we should be very much careful about picking these apples. It's very clear from some lines also when the poet says, cherish in hand, no, lift them, not let them fall, for all that struck to the earth, no matter if bruised or spiked, went straight to the cider heap as of no worth. That's clear from here that we should take proper care of these actions, of these activities we perform. There's one more interpretation which is very important. When a man takes birth in this world, what happens to him? This world itself is fraught with, it's full of with troubles, difficulties, and frustrations. But to keep himself away from these troubles and difficulties, he keeps himself busy with some activity. Hence, we can say apple picking. This apple picking in symbolical sense means that to keeping oneself busy with some activities so that we can be away from those troubles and difficulties and boredom of life. That's one of the interpretations of life. That's why if a person is involved with some activity, that's how this activity, any kind of activity, should be treated as apple picking. My dear students, there are certain symbols which you should remember first of all. For example, there is apple as a symbol. If a separate word apple is taken into consideration, then it's a human desire. Human desire. Okay, this is a human desire, apple. But if apple picking should be taken, then it's not out as per outward meaning. It is the activity, the picking of apples. Okay, but as inward meaning, it is any human activity. We can write it here, any human activity. It's any human activity, apple picking. Then there is one more symbol you'll come across from the poem, that's barrel. So barrel is actually a container where the apples are put. When the apple picker picks the apples, he puts them in a barrel. It's a container, it's a space, it's a utility where the apples are put. So symbolically, it means a kind of utility where all our actions, are preserved. For example, what happens when our activities are done? For example, I'm teaching right now. So where does this activity go? So it goes somewhere, it's preserved there. So that's why, as per the interpretation of the poem is concerned, that we should take proper care of these activities. If we are not taking care of these activities, we can become worthless. That's how the poet says that, went straight, those apples who fall down, no matter if they are not spiked, okay, if they are not bruised, they went straight to the cider apple heap. They went to the heap of apples which are worthless, as of no worth, as of no value. Therefore, we should take proper care of our actions. So barrel, one of the symbols. Dear students, you should also remember one important point there. There are 6 times in the poem that Robert Frost has used apples, or apple picking, or apples. I mean, he's talking about apples at 6 places in the poem, which is important to note, that these apples or apple picking, if he talks about the apples, it's human desire. Okay, if he talks about apple picking, it's human activity, any kind of activity. So this apple picking is a kind of human activity. So there is one more symbol which is very important from the poem, is that sleep. This sleep is very important. In literal sense, it's a sleep, normal sleep of a human, but in symbolic sense, the sleep is death. The sleep is death. So that's clear from the poem. So when we talk about the activities we perform in the world, it's a continuous lifelong process. But what happens at the end after we have performed? That's why I said in earlier class, I said after apple picking. After is very important. If we take this title into consideration, the first word of the title into consideration, we come across the after. Okay, I said this after is very important. How? Look at after apple picking. Here we come to know that the action is already complete. Okay, but when we begin the poem, my long 2-pointed ladder sticking through a tree, it means the action starts. So from the very title, it but in fact it is that the action is already clear. That poet actually talks about the activity which he has already performed, and then he writes after apple picking. So he has already picked the apples, he has already done the activity, now he is talking. But when the poem starts, it starts in a way that the apple picker is just to begin the activity. My long 2-pointed ladder sticking through a tree. It is sticking through a tree towards the heaven. ऊपर की तरह लगी हुई है. You can take this heaven as God, as sky also. Okay, so this is very important. So उसने stick की हुई है ladder tree के साथ, and there is a barrel. Look at the line. I already discussed this line with you, and there is a barrel that I didn't fill. So no doubt the apple picker has filled a lot of barrels, but the barrel which is now with him, the barrel which is now beside him, it's unfilled. I talked about human activities. When a man performs activities, he cannot perform all the activities. For example, when he comes in this universe, he starts doing activities. He has a lot of desires. He has lot of wishes to be fulfilled. Okay, but does it mean that he performs all those activities till he reaches to his death? Can we say that when a person reaches at the verge of death, when he dies, okay, can we say that he has performed all the activities? His desires are all fulfilled? The answer is no. Okay, so it's human nature that whenever we perform these activities in this world, we cannot fulfill all these activities. It remains unfilled at the end of the day. Apples I didn't pick. There is a barrel that I didn't fill. Beside it. So these are the 2 words, my dear students. One is beside and second is besides. Beside and besides and besides. Besides, when we say beside, it means by the side. It's near, it means nearby. It means nearby. When we say besides, it means in addition to, or in other context, it means without. So besides, by the side, and there may be 2 or 3. Okay, the action is here complete when he says that there are some activities which remain unfulfilled. Why they remain unfulfilled? Apples I did beside it, and there may be two or three apples I didn't pick upon some bough, but I am done with apple picking now. But I am done with apple picking now. Essence of winter sleep is on the night. This is clear. So there are activities which remain unfulfilled, but I am done with apple picking now. Essence of winter sleep. Remember, my dear friends, you should remember that this is the time of winter. And whenever winter is depicted in a poem, you should understand it is the symbol for death. Essence of winter sleep is on the night. Now, death is approaching. Death is near. Essence of winter sleep is on the night. The scent of apples. This is also the symbol, the scent of apples. You should remember this also. This is not the scent of apples in literal sense. This is the, remembrance of all those activities which we have performed in the past. For example, when a man reaches to the death, okay, at the verge of the death, he remembers all the activities he has done in the past. If those activities he has done were performed while taking proper care, if a person feels that he has not done those activities in a right manner, what he feels in his heart, there is some kind of burden he feels. There is some kind of peacelessness and restlessness that he feels. Like apple picker, while performing this activity, if he does not take care of these apples, those apples who struck to the earth, if he lets them fall down, if he does not lift them, they are bruised, they are spiked, and there is no worth for them then. So similarly, this essence of this scent of apples, similarly the scent of apples symbolically, metaphorically means ये उन एक्टिविटीज को सूंघ रहा है जो उसने पास्ट में done की है, जो उसने past में की है. If he has done them in a right manner, then he feels peace. If the activities were not done in while taking proper care, if the activities were not done in a way they should have been, then the poet feels, then the person feels very restlessness and peacelessness. I am drowsing off. This drowsing off is approaching to death. It means he's feeling tired. He's feeling very much approaching to sleep. And sleep, it is death. My dear students, now we have to go through the lines which are mostly very confusing. Okay, but I'll be trying my level hard to make you understand as simple as possible. I cannot rub the strangeness. So there is a shift from what he was talking about till this line, and now what he started talking about. Let me go through the line. I cannot rub the strangeness from my sight. So I cannot rub the strangeness from the sight. From this line, okay, we come across that the poet is not actually presently involved. Now, this title is justified here after apple picking. Here we come to know that yes, this is the action is already done in the past. When the poet says, I cannot rub the strangeness from the sight, this line indicates that the poet was in sleep or some sleep was overtaking him. Okay, I cannot rub the strangeness. There was some strangeness he cannot, rub from his sight, from his eyesight. I got from looking through a pane of glass. उसने कहाँ से वो strangeness देखी थी? उसने एक pane of glass उठाया था. It's a kind of hard snow that is when there is severe winter, this layer of snow is created. So he has skimmed that layer of snow, and he has seen the world, he has seen the surrounding from that very snow, okay, from that pane of glass. So I got from looking through a pane of glass. So he has seen the world, he has viewed the world from that pane of glass. I skimmed this morning. This skimmed means simply, to bring out something off. So he made that pan of glass, he made that layer of snow, hard layer of snow out from that drinking trough, from that water. Okay, so he viewed the world from that very pan of glass and held against the whole world of hoary grass. And then he saw all the things around from that pane of glass. It melted, and I let it fall and break. And it melted after some time, the pane of glass melted, and he let it fall and break, and it fell down and it broke. And then, but I was well upon my way to sleep before it fell. Look at this line. So here we come to know that, you know, the poet is dreaming. The poet was in dream. The poet had a different kind of, you know, strangeness, strange side. So, but I was well upon my way to sleep before it fell. It means that the poet was actually in sleep, and, you know, this was a dream that he was seeing. And I could tell what form my dreaming was about to take. And the poet says that he could easily say what kind of dream he was dreaming. Magnified apples appear and disappear. So it is from that very pane of glass, you know, these apples seemed magnified. I mean, the magnified means very huge. The poet says that I could easily say that what form my dreaming was about to take. What he saw from that strange side, magnified apples appear and disappear. From that very pane of glass, he sees huge apples, okay, appear and disappear. Stem end and blossom end. This is the sight that the poet is actually seeing from the pane of glass. Stem end and blossom end. This is also very important. Stem end, and he does not see the end of those stems or of those blossoms. And every fleck of russet. This fleck is the speck. This fleck is the speck, is the kind of, you know, speck that is a brown reddish in color. I mean simply the dots on apples. Okay, the dots on the apples when they are ripened. So there are certain dots, brown reddish dots. So this fleck of russet showing clear, that shows clear from that pane of glass. So the poet simply means that what he sees, the strangeness from the pane of glass, is that, you know, he sees stem and blossom and every fleck of russet, and whatever he sees it clearly. Okay, he sees clearly the russet, the specks on the apples. My instep arc not only keeps the egg. When he is on the ladder, he feels some kind of egg in the middle of the foot. That's how the poet says, my instep arc not only keeps the egg, it does not, you know, give me pain, it keeps the pressure of the ladder round. It at the same time keeps the pressure of the ladder round. I mean, ladder round means it's the traditional concept. They were round shaped, so it keeps the pressure of a ladder round. I feel the ladder sway. This ladder sway is also important as a symbol. I feel the ladder sway as the boff's bend. When he would reach to the apples which were out of reach somehow. So when he picks those branches, then he picks the apples. I feel the ladder sway. The ladder was little bit saying it means the signal of the death. It means the approaching of the death as the boffs bend branches. These boffs are the branches, and I keep hearing from the cellar bin. I keep hearing from the cellar bin. The cellar bin is a kind of space. The rumbling sound of onload of apples coming. He sees the load of apples coming. When he drops those apples on the cellar bin, you know, he hears the rumbling sound. You know, dear students, you should also remember that there are some words which resemble the natural sound. They are called onomatopoeic words. For example, if we talk about the word cuckoo, hiss. Hiss is the sound that snake creates. So these sounds resemble with the natural sound. So whenever we have some sounds which resemble the natural sounds, we call those words, we call those sounds or words onomatopoeic words. Onomatopoeic. Onomatopoeia it's called, and when we talk about words, we call them onomatopoeic words. So this cuckoo and hiss is the example for that. And rumbling sound, when an apple falls on apple, there is a sound which comes out, that's called rumbling sound. So this is very important. Dear students, there are other lines which are very important to you know, go through. For example, there is a line, for I have had too much of apple picking, I am overtired of the great harvest I myself desired. I have already discussed these lines in the earlier lecture. I said that, you know, the human nature is, you know, man wants too much in this universe. So when his desire is fulfilled, he's bored. Look at how it is clear from these lines. For I have had too much of apple picking. The apple picker has too much of apple picking. Okay, I am overtired. He is now exhausted. He is now tired. He is now bored of the great harvest I myself desired. This is very important. We ourselves desire too much in this world. You know, our desires are unlimited, but when our desires are fulfilled, God fulfills our desires. Okay, so we are overtired. That's what the apple picker says. There were 10,000, then there is a line, there were 10,000 fruit to touch. My dear students, there are certain other figures of speech symbols which have been employed by the poet. For example, when we come to this line, there were 10,000 fruit to touch. So for example, I remember Wordsworth's daffodils, when Wordsworth sees those daffodils beside the lake Glencoine in England. So he utters in a joy, in a sudden burst of joy, he utters, I saw 10,000s at a glance. So that does not mean that he saw exactly 10,000s. He counted the 10,000s there. So it is actually the outburst of some joy. Okay, that's how the writer says here. There were 10,000 fruit to touch. There were unlimited fruits to touch. Okay, so this, exaggeration of language is called hyperbole in literature. This exaggerated use of language is called hyperbole. Hyperbole. So simply you can remember that hyperbole is the use of exaggeration. Use of हाई-फाई लैंग्वेज, बढ़ा चढ़ा कर जिसको हम बयान करते हैं ना, उसी को hyperbole कहते हैं लिटरेचर में, लिटरेरी लैंग्वेज में. ठीक है. So then we come to this line which also we have discussed it in the earlier lecture. Cherish in hand. Cherish in hand. We should nourish the apples. We should nourish the activities in hand. We should take proper care while picking those apples. We should take proper precautions while doing our activities. Cherish in hand. Lift down and not let fall. We should lift them down. It's already clear. I have discussed these lines. We should lift the activities down. We should lift the apples down. We should not let them fall from above. Okay, for all. Look at for all. और वो सब that struck the earth, जो गिर जाते हैं, okay, went surely, no matter if not bruised or spiked with stubble. अगरचे उन पे ज़ख़म नज़र नहीं आता है, अगरचे उनको ज़ाहरी तौर पर हम उनका ज़ख़म नहीं देखते हैं, ज़ाहरी तौर पर अगर हम देखते हैं कि उनको खराबी नहीं हुई है, no matter if not spiked or bruised with stubble, went surely to the cider apple heap. They went to that heap which is where inferior apples are put, where those bruised or spiked apples are put. Okay, as of no worth. Worth is value, but the writer says, the poet says, no worth. They are valueless. So we can also become valueless if we don't take care of our activities, my dear students. So this is also the message, one of the important messages from the poem, that we should take proper care of our activities. One can see what will trouble this sleep of mine. So this trouble word is important because the apple picker himself knows that he's confusing. He does not understand what form his dream is taking place, what form of sleep this is. So he's in confusion. I already said you that the sleep is not the literal sleep. It is not the outward meaning of the sleep. It is the inward. There is there is huge significance of this term. This sleep of mine, whatever sleep it is. Now whatever it is, since we know what the sleep is actually, okay, we ourselves know what the sleep actually is. Whatever sleep it is, where he've not gone, okay, the woodchuck could say whether it's like his long sleep as I describe it's coming on, or just some human sleep. Now we can understand it from here. So the writer himself, the poet himself, is confused whether it is the sleep that the woodchuck sleeps. You should remember that woodchuck, it's an animal, it's a rodent from squirrel family. What this woodchuck does, he goes for hibernation. It's believed that he sleeps in winter and then gets up in in the ending of the February. So he sleeps for 2 or 3 months long sleep. Okay, so the writer is confused. He could not understand whether it is the hibernation of the woodchuck or some human sleep. But we understand it better if we take the significance, if we take the meaning, if we take the interpretation of the poem into consideration. We understand it directly that it's not the literal sleep, it is not the human sleep, rather it's the hibernation like woodchuck. It is the long sleep which we understand as death, which is simply we can understand as death. Therefore, the meaning of the poem is very clear. After doing all the activities, we have to die. But while doing these activities, we have to take proper care while doing these activities. My dear students, we should understand one important thing, that poetry cannot be understood reading it line by line. My dear students, you should understand that poetry can never be understood in lines. Poetry can't be paraphrased. So we have to understand this poem as a whole. We have to bring the messages, bring the interpretations from the poem as a whole. So there are certain certain other things, certain points which I maybe I have forgotten to tell you about the poem. So I'll be trying my level best to make them clear in the next lecture. My dear students, I hope that you have made good understanding out of these lines. I wish you all the best. Thank you.